You've been warned. Don't get shaken out. History shows that things get dicey right before the real move begins. What started off as wrecked timber might have felt kind of brutal, but the charts look eerily similar to September 2020, the year before crypto melted faces and went on a mega multi-month bull run. Stick around because the signals are hiding in plain sight right now. Let's talk Ethereum first because this chart is giving some serious deja vu vibes. If you zoom out, ETH today looks a lot like September 2020, right after the COVID crash. Back then, the market had somewhat recovered from its black swan lows, broken out of a key resistance cluster, and was just starting to convince people the bull market was real. Fast forward to mid-2025, we've had our own kind of black swan scares from tariffs to macro shocks, and ETH just puked its guts out. And just like 2020, Ethereum has broken above resistance, sparking that first wave of real bullish sentiment. People are starting to believe again. Credit here to I Am Jackass, though, by the way, who pointed out the parallels here. He notes that ETH's price has sprinted far ahead of its comfort zone, with its deviation from the 200-day moving average almost identical to where we were in September of 2020. And again, in March 2024. That usually means one thing: the market needs to cool off, either through a shakeout or a longer range. And get this, ETH hasn't even touched its 50-day moving average yet, which it almost always does in these kind of setups. TLDR, markets can be choppy. Nothing goes up on a straight line, okay? Maybe there'll be some big fat dips in the next month or so. Maybe the rate cut are enough to just put enough wind in the sails, everything just goes to the effing moon. But big picture, if Ethereum can clear its old 2021 peak around $4,800, the stage is set for a very bullish end of year and very bullish 2026. And just like in the last cycle, once ETH confirms, altcoins tend to follow with explosive momentum. The parallels are uncanny. History might just be setting us up for a bit of a rhyming pattern here, if you will. Now, if ETH tells us about the overall trend, the ETH-BTC ratio shows how it's faring against Bitcoin, a key signal for altcoin momentum. This ratio is more than just a number. It reflects the relative momentum of the two major assets. If ETH is gaining ground against Bitcoin, it might be a signal of an altcoin risk event, meaning that there's increased risk appetite for altcoins versus Bitcoin. Now let's check the ETH-BTC chart because the resemblance to 2020 is absolutely uncanny. Back in September 2020, ETH-BTC ratio was stuck in consolidation. Typical wrecked timber stuff. And right in the first half of the month, we printed a weekly candle spinning top. Classic sign of indecision. What followed? A couple of red weeks as the pair drifted lower, before bottoming out and reversing into a very powerful rally later in the year. Now fast forward to September 2025, and here we are again. The first 2 weeks of September, well, we printed another spinning top on the weekly chart. Almost the exact same setup. Now, if history were to rhyme that much, then ETH-BTC might have a little more downside to work through before setting up for a year-end move much higher. Doesn't mean it has to. We're just talking about things that have played out in history here, having a history lesson, partially also trying to infer what could happen in the future. The similarity doesn't stop at price action either. The ETH-BTC MACD is nearly the same level as September 2020. Back then, it rolled over as the pair consolidated and drifted lower, but here's the good news. It can actually support the case for an extended cycle. Instead of a short-lived rally, it just burns out after a few months. This kind of reset can build the base for a much longer, much more sustainable move well into 2026. Now, before we talk about the altcoin chart, guys, if you're trading these crypto markets and you need a good exchange to do that on, that place is BitUnix, where I'm doing most of my futures trading these days. You can join me over there. No KYC, no VPN, to be able to anyone, anywhere, which is you. So if you want to start trading over there to long the rips, short the dips, buy exotic altcoins, trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, dog coins, they got you covered, okay? And it's never been a better time to sign up. Use the link right down below here, right here. Guess what? You'll get 30% off your trading fees. You'll get a $400 deposit bonus. You deposit $2,000 or more, you get $400 back in your account. That's crazy, crazy deal, man. Crazy trading bonus as well. There's a lot of them there. Basically, the more you trade, the more money they're gonna stuff back in your pockets. And for the rest of the month of September, we are giving away $1,000 in every live stream. Check it out. Links right here. Thank you very much. Now, let's move on to the weekly others chart. Of course, the others chart is tracking all the coins outside of the top 10. This is a good way to check whether smaller cap or medium cap altcoins are really gaining momentum. Back in September 2020, the others chart went sideways, just like the ETH-BTC chart that we just looked at earlier. But today, things look a bit different. Instead of going flat, we're seeing an ascending triangle forming. And more often than not, those patterns break to the upside. If that happens here, I think we will likely see a retest of resistance as support, which would be a technically bullish breakout, by the way, before a strong upward continuation. Now, some argue the market has already topped and this breakout might never come. I disagree. I disagree. The market is not top. Get over your bear market PTSD. Put your big boy pants on. We're going to be fine. When we zoom out on the monthly chart, the RSI is telling another story. It's not saying that we're peaked. In the past 2 cycles, RSI peaked on the others chart above 90. Right now, we are nowhere near that, obviously suggesting that we have not seen the cycle top yet. If that is enough to give you hope that yes, an altcoin season is still possible, that yes, everyone's still going to have a chance to get rich as fuck, look at the total 3 or the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Here's where things get interesting. September 2020 showed consolidation, just like the other charts we looked at. Nothing flashy, just a bit of chop. September 2025, totally different vibe. Instead of stalling out, the total 3 actually started the month quite strong with an uptrend. Now it's consolidating in what looks like a bullish pennant. That is a classic continuation pattern. And if it breaks upwards, which would be the betting odds that it would, it could signal that altcoins beyond the top names are already gearing up for their next leg higher. So unlike 2020, where the market was waiting around, this time the broader altcoin market looks way more aggressive. And that could mean altcoins aren't just following Ethereum and Bitcoin, that maybe they're starting to lead. That risk appetite is spilling down. Now let's check the others BTC chart. Basically the smaller cap coins, again outside the top 10 versus Bitcoin, it's a solid gauge of whether altcoins are really holding their own or just lagging behind Bitcoin. Now back in September 2020, this chart went sideways, then it broke lower into December before reversing into the absolutely massive explosive alt season of 2021. Fast forward to September 2025, same sideways chop, but with a big difference. Zoom out and you'll see the others BTC is still stuck in a downward trend that started back in 2022. Until that breaks, Bitcoin stays in the driver's seat. The takeaway, just like 2020, we may need some more chop, maybe even a dip before altcoin season truly heats up. Maybe we don't. Again, maybe the rate cuts are going to put enough wind in the sails of the market that we don't need any dips. We'll just go up forever. But dips always happen. If we get a reset, history suggests that smaller caps will go absolutely vertical when that happens. So what's the bottom line here? Across the board, the charts are flashing the same message you saw back in 2020. Expect chop before liftoff. Ethereum looks overextended and due for a big move. BTC and others BTC both suggest alts could continue to lag a little bit longer, and even the others chart, while bullish, probably needs a bit more time. But on the flip side, Total 3 is showing way more strength than it did in 2020, hinting that altcoin momentum is already building under the surface. The TLDR here, short term, we could have some more turbulence in the next month or two, but long-term fireworks setting up for a big Q4 and an even bigger 2026 potentially. History, of course, never repeats and nothing is guaranteed, but it sure looks like we have some rhyming going on here. So if it does, then this means that 2026 could be a face-melting year, because if we were really in September 2020, chart-wise right now, the pump's not just gonna last for a few weeks. It's not just gonna be, okay, we pump for a few weeks in October and then it's over 4 years. No. Shit's gonna get way crazier than you think it's gonna get. And I know the market has beaten our spirits down, that we have PTSD, that we're afraid to believe in things. I get it. I understand. Don't give up. Stay positive. The best times are still ahead of us. Thanks for watching.